here to talk about food. Good morning. It's great to be here. My purpose really this morning is to do a short course in Hawaiian conservation for our distinguished guests. So I think probably many of you in this room could do the same presentation, so I hope you'll bear with me. But I just wanted to do some basics on Hawaiian conservation. Just to start off with, to compare Hawaii to India. I mean, we are not like a star in the universe compared to India size-wise. But this is our star, and we're very proud of it. I did note from the comments this morning that the number of lawyers in India is equal to the population of Hawaii.
Should I correct? It is 1.8, not 1.5.
Ah, okay, so there are more lawyers in India than there are people in Hawaii. So just briefly on conservation in Hawaii, I wanted to just boil it down to about 4 points, and I'll tell them to you ahead of time. And one is diversity, natural diversity. One is the threats to conservation in Hawaii. One is, from a human standpoint, our unique host culture and our intimate relationship, which I think is not unlike the relationship between humans and the environment that you outlined this morning. And the other is that our very strong collaboration ethic here. We call it a kokua thing. We're all in it together, and we are all working on the solutions together. So just to run through a few examples here, the first thing you know about Hawaii from coming here is the tremendous isolation of Hawaii. I mean, we are thousands of miles away from the nearest high island landmass or large landmass. And that meant that we were completely isolated in terms of what species could migrate here, coming in on a wave or a storm. And so very, very slowly, something would come from someplace else and evolve, therefore, into very, very unique species. So our endemism is very, very high in Hawaii on both the land side and the marine side. We have just many thousands of species that are found nowhere else on the planet. So when we want to protect them, we want to protect them not just for Hawaii, but for the world. And similarly, we're a very young land, just in terms of millions of years, and that is very, very different from anywhere else, any island state or most ecosystems. And so therefore we are still evolving, and we're more evolved in the northwest sides of the island and brand new on the southwest sides, southeast sides of our island chain. And so that means we're as an ecology we are unique, and we're still moving. We have, because we're a high island landmass, we have most of the major biomes in the world represented here in a very tiny area. We have alpine all the way down to dry forest, all the way down to coastal habitat. So it's unique. You can be just about anywhere in Hawaii and see the tremendous different zones, and therefore different habitats and different species that live in them. So here's just a few examples of the very unique species we have in Hawaii. And so, for example, in the bottom left here, you have the honeycreeper and the lobelia evolving together so that the size of a bill exactly fits the size of particular flowers. So if you lose the flowers, you lose the birds as well. We're a very wet area. Our ohia forest, this is one of the threats going on right now, is our ohia forests are under threat on the Hawaii island from a fungus, rapid ohia death. But the forest itself is a very intact, beautiful koa ohia forest that provides with ferns in the understory, a very thick sponge that captures rainwater and feeds our aquifers, and that's where we get our water. The mists are captured on the leaves of the plants and soak in very slowly. So when this forest is intact, we recharge our aquifers. When it's not intact, we lose that water and mud with it down into our streams and onto our reefs. So we want very much, in order to preserve our native species, our forests, and our water supply, we want this forest to be intact. On the marine side, we have tremendous diversity as well. We have high levels of endemism. A quarter of our reef species are found nowhere else on the planet. In the northwest Hawaiian Islands, there are places where there's close to 100% endemism. Species so unique that you can't find them anywhere in all of them. Some of these are very iconic, our Hawaiian green sea turtle, our Hawaiian monk seals, and these are representative of us. I think the other thing, because we have a very strong host culture, there's a very close relationship between humans and our native species. And in Hawaiian culture, many of these are aumakua, our ancestors themselves. And so there's a very important spiritual relationship that binds us morally to take care of them. We have, similar to India and other places in the world, we have a whole transformation that has happened in the last few hundred years of our islands and our society through, in our case, Europeans that arrived in the late 1700s and introduced, from a ecosystem perspective, introduced hooved animals to Hawaii. So goats, deer, pigs, sheep, and cattle were not here originally. And so our forests and our plants and our species did not evolve with any natural defenses to them. So the result is that these animals graze and dig and completely destroy our forests, and they've escaped up into the forest in the last couple hundred years, so that where they are present, the forests are totally destroyed. This is something you can see the erosion here. This is a more dramatic example of what's supposed to be there versus what happens. This is a fence. You're seeing a fence line along this valley. So you know, on the right-hand side, you're going to see, in this case, mostly goats, and on the left-hand side, they're not there because they've been removed. And so this has tremendous impacts as well on our reef systems, because when we have uncontrolled erosion, we have mud just going out and covering our reefs and killing our reef species. We also have introduced insects, in this case mosquitoes. They bring avian malaria and avian pox, and have done tremendous damage to our native birds. Our very unique native birds in the last 100 years have declined. Many of them have gone extinct, primarily due to avian diseases that are carried by mosquitoes that were introduced in the early 1800s. Also transformative is the impact of changes in laws from the annexation to the United States, and the intentional, in the first couple of years, transformation of our marine laws from locally based, locally controlled stewardship to open access. And because of that and modern fishing techniques, and really no significant protections or insufficient protections where we have them, our reef species have declined 75% and more throughout Hawaii. And some of this is due to the tremendous population growth, really in the last 50 years in particular. When I was growing up, the population of the state was about 800,000. Now it's less than the number of lawyers in India, but still high. And the other thing that has happened a lot since World War II is you have this tremendous influx of transportation lines, planes and boats, shipping, the ability to carry cargo from all over the world. So our huge threat to Hawaii is invasive species, because our systems are so unique and don't have defenses. And so a new plant, Myconia, ginger, we have plants that have come from, we have ginger from the Himalayas that don't act the same here. They take over because they don't have the bugs and the funguses that are keeping them in check there. And so they'll turn a forest into a monoculture of plants that kill everything else out there. And so that will be transformative for our forests as well. And then in addition, we have both new technologies that allow us much more aggressive harvesting, and also what you alluded to, Chief Justice, the disconnect in modern society, and particularly in urban society, the disconnect from the obligation of stewardship of our resources. But the opportunity here is to reconnect that. That's our opportunity, is to strengthen that and to reconnect it, and to bring that sense of stewardship back and broaden it in our society. The impact of this change has been a tremendous conversion of our native ecosystems. The green is really what's left that's in good shape. The red is completely destroyed. The yellow is very heavily impacted. So we have 4 million acres of land in Hawaii, and half of it is still decent forest. About 1/8 of it is really excellent forest still, and the rest of it is completely converted and is sort of lost. So our goal is to protect the rest, and that's where collaboration comes in. So one of the things that's so unique about Hawaii, I think, or we are proud to be able to do, is to work very closely together. And so this is an example of watershed partnerships that we have developed throughout Hawaii. There are a dozen of them now throughout the state, and they are composed of public and private landowners who are acting as stewards collectively. And so you can ignore land boundaries, you can fence and remove the hoofed animals from the core areas where it's most important, without regard to who owns what where. We're all working together to try to develop strategic plans and funding, and to do good stewardship on that. So this is an example of upper left. We on the Three Mountain Alliance on Hawaii Island, an area that was fenced, and the pigs were removed, and so when that happened, the forest had a chance to recover and the ferns came back. Bottom left, again, this is goat control, just totally denuded, and once the area was secured, actually what came back, surprisingly, was native plants, so we were very happy about that. Okay, just a little on climate change. Chip covered it in great depth, but we have several areas of great impact to our natural resources from climate change. And the first is really what's expected to be a shrinking of the forest belt that we get our water from. And so as climate warms, the heat moves up the mountain. It also compresses the forest cloud belt from the top. So because you have a sort of triangular shaped island, you're shrinking it, and so the area that you're capturing your water from also shrinks as well. And Chip covered the great variations between heavy rainfall and drought, and this is expected to significantly impact our native ecosystems as well over time. The other impacts are, of course, sea level rise and coral bleaching. And so, what we have to do for both of these is to really work on strengthening our resilience of our native ecosystems. So the healthier they are, the more resilient they will be. So if a marine system is protected from some of the threats from unsustainable fishing, sources of pollution from the land, and invasive species, it will have a better chance to survive warming events than otherwise. Mosquitoes are going to go further up into the forest system right now, and so our forest birds will be at greater risk. So the more healthy our forests are in the future, the better they will be able to resist transformation that will in turn harm our native species. And so again, I just want to emphasize that it's having an ethic that's rooted in our host culture and the relationship between humans and the environment that makes this so strong emotionally, and also our deep desire to work together from across different disciplines and segments of the community to protect and restore our native ecosystem. And of course, I would be remiss if I didn't end on the high note of our upcoming World Conservation Congress. And we're very proud to be hosting the World Conservation Congress in just 2.5 months here in September. And we hope this is a great opportunity to learn and share with the rest of the world our strengths and our challenges, and to be able to use this as an opportunity to advance conservation for Hawaii and for the planet. Thank you.